The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man. I'm in Alameda, California, Northern California, right across the bay from San Francisco, across the moat from Oakland. And my claim to fame is simply that I talk to the most interesting people on the planet on a regular basis. And today is no exception. My guest is long-time Comfortably Zoned radio contributor, and more importantly, my friend, Jerry Feitelberg. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Ralph. It's always a pleasure to be on the podcast with you. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well.
Given the circumstances of having a new president-elect, I'm doing pretty well. I was just thinking, what if Trump had been elected? What would our heads be like today? And I'm afraid that they wouldn't be in a good place. So happy to have the results of the election. We're waiting now whether the son of a bitch will leave without being shackled. What do you?
Yeah, on election night, I went to bed. I was very disturbed because the initial, at the close of the about at 11 or 12 o'clock on the 3rd of November, Trump was ahead. He was ahead in Pennsylvania. He was ahead in Wisconsin and Michigan. And I was saying, oh, no, it's going to be a repeat of 2016. And when I woke up and I saw that the tide had turned and that they were opening up the absentee ballots and Biden was coming from behind to take all the battleground states, it changed my mood 180 degrees. I was a happy camper. Now the question is, Trump is trying to find a pathway to overturn the election, either through these lawsuits that he's filing or hoping to get to the Supreme Court and have the Supremes overturn the election, which they're not probably likely willing to do so. But the other alternative is to have stall it, not have the election certified, and then said, well, it's got to go to the states, and it goes to the House of Representatives, and each state has one vote, and there are 27 or 28 red states and 22 blue states, and you can see that the smaller states would negate New York, California, Michigan, the big states, and he would win the election that way. But it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. And more Republicans are getting off that crazy bandwagon. 2 or 3 today, one of whom was Karl Rove. Tell me what you remember about him and the importance of him breaking ranks, so to speak.
Yeah, Karl Rove was a very, very important player when George W. Bush was was president, and he was Bush's tactician and an attack dog, whatever you wanted to call him. He was very, very influential during the 8 years that Bush was in office, and he was a major player in the Republican Party. And he helped
gerrymander. He was a gerrymander too. He would. And a strategist, a Republican strategist. My point being, he's a very well-respected Republican. Am I correct?
Correct.
And he is getting off the bandwagon. Oh, I call it a shit wagon, to be honest with you. But I think Trump is slowly getting the message. There's rumors that Karl Rove is working with his son-in-law, Jared, to kind of convince Trump, just to be, a little mellow about it. You got to do things with the country's concern at least once in your presidency, and having a smooth transition makes for a better protected United States of America.
Absolutely. In fact, today on Meet the Press, John Bolton, the former national security advisor for Trump, who had a falling out with Trump, said that remember in 2001, in the 2000 election, it was 37 days before Bush knew he was going to beat Gore. Remember, 527 votes separated them in Florida, and they had to go to the Supreme Court, and finally the Supremes gave the election to Bush. Well, they said that delay in the transition may have been a factor in the attack that occurred on 9/11, because it took a while for the Bush administration to get up and running, and they may not have had everything in place necessary to stop the terrorist attack. And so it's a
lot of surmising going on. I have a surmise for you. What if Bolton would have testified instead of waiting for his book to come out during the hearings? Maybe, just maybe, Trump would have been impeached and 2,400,000 people would be alive. So that son of a bitch, whenever he comes on, I cringe.
Yes, you have a right to cringe, but Trump was impeached, but he did. Bolton could have testified, but the fact of the matter is, only one Republican senator voted found Trump guilty. The other 50
I know, but if they would have allowed Bolton to testify, or if he wanted to testify, he could have changed the mind. Bolton was Bolton. Bolton is Bolton. He's got a lot of power as well. He could have changed the minds of a lot of Republicans.
No, I don't think so, because the senators were deathly afraid of Trump going after them. So they stayed in lockstep. The only one was Mitt Romney, who found him guilty. So
yeah, but if the information came out, the Republican voters might have put influence on the senators, who all they want to do is get reelected. Either party, that's their job. That's what politics is. How can I get reelected? How can I get reelected? And how can I get reelected? Morning, noon, and night.
But you needed 2/3 of the senators to do that. You needed 67 votes. That they had 47 no votes, so they needed 20 Republican senators to change their minds, and it wasn't going to happen.
Well, it wouldn't have happened if he came. It would have happened if it was made to be in their best interest. If the cost of it not happening, it wasn't because of their morals that it didn't happen. That's my point. It's a Shark Tank, either side.
Well, anyway, so what's going on now is Trump is losing virtually every lawsuit that he's filed is being dumped. In the courts, he has absolutely no evidence of any fraudulent activity. They may have some anecdotal evidence that some mishaps occurred, but there's certainly not enough to overturn 50,000 or 60,000 votes in Pennsylvania, 12,000 votes in Georgia, or whatever the margins were in Michigan and Wisconsin. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and we have to be concerned with Georgia right now to get these senators elected, so that we get the majority, and Biden can do something finally. Remember, Obama was hampered for 8 years, and let's hope.
Mitch McConnell likes to think himself as the Grim Reaper. He'll kill any legislation that comes into the Senate that he doesn't like. Instead of having the legislation discussed, arguments being heard on both sides, he says, no, we're just not going to do it. And he would say, well, Trump's going to veto it anyway. Well, let it go to Trump. Maybe he won't veto it. You don't know. But that's what you got. He's an obstructionist. And as you said, it's so critical that Warnock and Ossoff get elected in Georgia. Stacey Abrams did a sensational job of registering people, and I think they have until December 7th to register more people, and the runoffs are held on January 5th. So we'll have a clearer picture on that, and hopefully the Democrats can pull it off.
Let's really hope so, because it's been a long time and a lot of shenanigans in the Obama administration due to McConnell and others really set us back as a nation.
Yeah, well, I think we'd all like to see Trumpism die, and the utter meanness and callousness of this president has been vindictiveness, the lies, day in, day out. It's been unbelievable. We have 4 years of the shit show going on, and now it's time to turn the page and go somewhere else.
This is a good time for me to quote Mark Twain. He said something to the effect of never wanting anyone to die, but not being all that disappointed when some did.
Yeah, right. And it would be okay in this case too.
I won't be disappointed in his honor. He's a better man than I'll ever be. So
Trump just doesn't have it in him to go out with grace, to go out and say, I ran a good campaign. I had 71 million people vote for me. It wasn't enough, but that's the way it goes. Every election has a winner and loser, and I'm here to help my successor get up and running, and I wish him all the success in the world. He would never do that.
Hey, would you have expected him to do that and been surprised if he did?
No.
Yes.
And it's all about him. He seeks praise, and if he doesn't get praise or someone criticism, he gets vindictive and goes after him. People that tell the truth, he went after them. He go back to Marie Jovanovic, the former ambassador to the Ukraine. She was testifying to the House committee, and he was intimidating her, or trying to intimidate her while she was testifying. Colonel Vindman, who told the truth, what he heard on that telephone call, he and his brother got removed and almost perp-walked out of the White House. And then Vindman was supposed to be promoted to colonel, but they had made his life so miserable in the Army they were going to relegate him to terrible jobs, just worthless jobs. So he resigned. Hopefully, with Biden as president, they'll bring Vindman back into the intelligence services, and both he and his brother, I think, would be a good addition to the Biden team.
Wow, you're right, and I've never heard that mentioned. Great idea.
Yeah, it would be. I think Biden is saying the right things. He's acting very presidential. I liked it when he said he's going to be the president of all the people, even the people that voted against him. It's not a blue state, red state thing. If you recall, in the 4 years that Trump has been president, the only time that he came to California was to look at the wall at the border, and then probably to come out here to have a fundraiser at some with the big money is in Silicon Valley or L.A. I don't know where he went. But
and he came out to criticize Californians for not handling the fires. But guess what? 2/3 of them, maybe 3/4 of the fires were on federal property.
Exactly. Exactly. And they wanted to rake the forest. Well, it would take an army of 1 million people 300 years to rake the forest. It's so vast.
Only a guy who would suggest drinking Clorox would be capable of saying something so stupid.
And we're going to be at a loss of 250,000 people by Thanksgiving, and those people are going to have a lot of. There are going to be a lot of empty seats at the Thanksgiving tables because of the lack of response from this guy and not coordinating what is a national emergency. It is not a blue state, red state thing, and he was holding up money going to get to the blue states, which he allegedly said that they were not administered properly, that they were losing money or not doing it right, but he was giving money to the red states, and the red states are just as badly mismanaged as the blue states. But that's the way his thinking was. They had the 50 states bidding against each other for equipment, for testing supplies. We still don't have a national policy for testing. I know they're working on it to get these inexpensive.
How about
tests.
the tracing? Tests aren't effective at all if you can't trace, and they're not doing that either. They never have.
No tracing is being done, and their recklessness that when Amy Coney Barrett had that reception at the White House, and the people weren't wearing masks, and Trump, his wife, and several other people, Chris Christie and Mike Lee, they all came down with COVID. Now they had the election party
none of them died, so I can't bring Mark Twain in as a callback to that. But I'd be laughing my ass off if any of them died. And it's not over. The spread is current. This past week, that idiot doctor Ben something.
Carson. Ben Carson. Now they announced Corey Lewandowski, Mike Bossy. They've had from that election evening party, 14 more people are infected. 14.
Yeah. Well,
and it's still going on.
Thoughts and prayers to them. You can't imagine how sarcastic that was. Jerry knows it, but for you listening out there, oh man, I can't stand these people, and they deserve what they're getting. But the sad part is they're spreading it to people that don't deserve to die.
No.
So,
and they're using disinformation. They're using the social media platforms, Twitter and Facebook. Now, Twitter and Facebook have grown a pair of cojones, and they are now saying, well, this may be misleading when they put it out there. So a lot of the right-wing stuff are now going to a platform called Parler. I don't know if you heard about that one.
No, I haven't.
And they had a big movement over there where they are fostering all the conspiracy theories, and it's pro-Trump all the way on that thing. And of course, the news is that Trump is considering, when he leaves the White House, is forming his own network because he's very unhappy with what Fox News did to him.
I wonder how that network will cover him when he's arrested, but in New York State.
I have no idea. Well,
and that's not pardonable. So
no, not this.
He can't resign. He can't resign and have Pence pardon him because that doesn't count.
not in the state court. And he will have. I'm betting that he's not going to show up for the inauguration. He's just not going to show up. Biden's going to have to go down there by himself, which is okay. And I'm betting at 12:01 p.m. on January 20th, 2021, the indictments from Cyrus Vance, Letitia James, and maybe the federal government will be coming down after him. And I hope so.
That's nice. But you don't hear much on that on CNN. And I watch it a lot. They're not talking about that. And I wonder why. It's my contention that that's the only reason he's trying to delay it. He doesn't really want to be president. At this point, he knows he won't be for the second term, but he doesn't want to go to prison. He may flee the country.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's doing all this stuff, because he knows the day that he's no longer president, he's going to be indicted. He knows that. And that's why all these machinations are going on. And that's why if the Republicans, if they have a modicum of decency, will say, you got to get the transition going, and we're going to start getting Biden in for the briefings and the Biden staff. We want to. It's not in our national interest to have this go on for 37 days or whenever it is. I think the Electoral College meets on December 13th. The election is certified at that time. So we can't wait. We have to start the transition now.
Jerry, I can't imagine Biden not having the benefit of some people in the Pentagon who are keeping him really well informed.
I would hope so.
I would too.
I would hope. And you don't want to politicize the military. You don't want to politicize the Justice Department, but Trump is trying to do so. He fired Mark Esper, the Secretary of Defense, the other day. He employed a couple of his lackeys in there. He did the same thing with the post office with Louis DeJoy. He did the same thing with Radio Free Europe. All those Voice of America. He got rid of all the people that have been running it for years to throw his guys in there. And it's going to take a while to undo the damage. The Justice Department with Bill Barr, that has been politicized. Barr thought he was Trump's personal attorney. You don't want
next to be fired is Bill Barr. That's my prediction.
Well, the thing is, they have undermined the credibility of the FBI and the CIA, going after. James Comey, is a human being like everyone else, and he wrestled with the decision to go, to release the. When they had the Hillary Clinton emails that they found with her Anthony Weiner and his wife Huma Abedin,
cost her the election.
Yeah, cost her the election because of what Comey did, and then Comey gets fired for not signing, pledging his loyalty to Trump, and the answer is, you pledge your loyalty to the Constitution, not to the individual. But
Absolutely.
Trump doesn't have it. And he fired Andrew McCabe 2 days before he was supposed to retire to get his pension. And why did he do that? Because McCabe's wife was a Democrat and ran against. He used that as a reason to get McCabe fired. If you read McCabe's book, he made mistakes like anyone else. But when he was with the FBI, he followed all the procedures, like all the professionals do there. Peter Strzok, same thing. They may have been Republicans, but they were apolitical. They did their work in a professional manner, and you want these types of people to do that. You don't want it politicized. They are individuals. They can be Democrats or Republicans. It doesn't matter. And the same thing with the Mueller investigation, how Bill Barr came out and just dismissed it as nothing, that they had exonerated Trump, and Mueller had to come out and say, if we meant to exonerate Trump, we would have said so, and he didn't. And there's a matter of the 10 definitive items of obstruction of justice that was in the Mueller report that has to be dealt with. and remember the Congress did not go after that. They only did the thing on the with the quid pro quo for the Ukrainian president to get dirt on Biden. And by the way, have you noticed that the screaming and yelling about Hunter Biden has stopped?
Absolutely, yes, I have, because of the results of the election more than anything else.
Oh yeah. Oh, and here's something else. I think you'll appreciate this. As you know, Kamala Harris is married to Doug Emhoff, who's Jewish. What I learned yesterday is that the 3 Biden children were married to, had Jewish spouses. Bo was married to a Jewish woman, and Hunter is, I think, married to a Jewish woman, and Jill Biden's daughter is married to a Jewish guy. So how do you like
Trump,
that?
I would like that better if Trump's daughter wasn't married to a Jewish guy. And, and that particular Jewish guy happens to be an asshole, as a number of Jewish guys are. Jews are, I mean, you and I are Jewish, but, you know, there are good and bad in every race, creed, and religion.
You know, for sure. But
it's nice that those people have good taste.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I don't know if if Trump's children are going to be in hot water too when he leaves. If any of them are going to be in trouble for what they've been doing in the last 2 or 3 years. The Trump organization is under scrutiny from Cyrus Vance, and we'll see to the extent if they're involved in any wrongdoing.
It's, as I tell Tally, it's good drama.
Yeah.
Every day is like the OJ trial. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember how exciting that was from day to day? Now every day is like that. And it's good. It's getting to be more fun since the election, and the drama is seeing how the man implodes.
Oh, yeah. When you brought up the OJ trial, it reminded me when I was on the medical staff of the A's. I was over at the ballpark one night, and I was down in the clubhouse. And then in the clubhouse, they had these big old round tables in there. And I was sitting down with 2 Hall of Famers, Ricky Henderson and Dennis Eckersley. And we talked for an hour about the OJ case. And it was unbelievable. Ricky didn't think OJ did. And Eck, as he, in his customary way, he said at the end, "Oh, heck, I thought he did it." Just like that. So,
well,
so we had a split.
Showed you how divided we are as a country, right there. Just that's a good microcosm of the Great Divide. Ricky really believed that, I'm sure, that OJ didn't do it. And there's a difference, we learned as a country, there's a difference between being not guilty and being innocent. So if you want to say OJ was not guilty, yes, but innocent, wow, if you believe that, you're a freaking moron at this point.
And remember when they had the civil case where Petrocelli was the attorney for Fred Goldman, they got a $33 million judgment in the civil court, which I don't think he ever paid, but they got at least some satisfaction or some vindication that OJ was responsible.
Right. Well, speaking of that, if you guys want, you and my listeners want a little humor, go back and listen to, I can't think of his first name, Norm Macdonald, at the ESPYs when Norm Macdonald at the ESPYs. Just Google that on YouTube and get to YouTube. It is extremely amusing. So, hey, Jerry, as usual, I enjoy our banter more than you know.
Well, I enjoy it too. It was very nice.
Let's continue it, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. We'll do it again.
Yeah, when we get this COVID-19 thing under control, we'll have lunch at Nations. Maybe we can get together with Nancy Finley and Michael Duca and the whole gang. And
that would be great. And we all should live that long because it doesn't seem to be getting better fast.
Well, I was impressed with what Pfizer announced on Monday. And by the way, did you see that Trump went off on the drug on Pfizer because he felt that they deliberately withheld the announcement until after the election?
There's no question that they did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they did.
Of course they did. First of all, Biden is so indebted to the drug companies, you'll never know. And the one thing about Trump, I will say this, I can see why he's pissed, because he got the cost of drugs down. Am I right?
He was threatening them to get it down, but he didn't. He didn't get that done. That's another one of his promises he didn't follow through on. He was trying to. He was trying to, but he failed on that. But
I didn't know that. I stand corrected as we speak. Thank you for the education on a lot of things, Jerry.
Yeah, the neat thing about both the Pfizer vaccine and the one that the Moderna company is working on is it's actually genetic engineering, and they're not going to use any of the attenuated or live coronavirus in the vaccine, so you won't get it from that. And their thinking is by changing the genetic code when you develop the antibodies, it will protect the individuals from getting the virus. And they've had a 90% success rate in stage 3 trials. They've got more testing to do. They've got to get more people involved. But I heard Dr. Fauci, he's excited about it. And they asked him, would he take the vaccine? He said yes. There were a couple of conditions they had to do, make sure it was safe, that type of thing. Once it's been certified by the FDA, he's going to be the first in line to take it. And I figure if Fauci takes it and he works out okay, it should be safe for everybody. So
Beautiful.
Those are the good things. Yeah,
there's hope ahead for all of us. There's hope ahead for all of us.
Yes, and I want to wish you and Tally a beautiful Thanksgiving. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will be in Alameda with my 2 daughters and their husbands for Thanksgiving. We're going to have a very small Thanksgiving. We had been going to San Francisco since 1978, spending the day with our friends in San Francisco. But because of the virus and, we told the people not to do it, just have a small family gathering, and they're going to do it this year that way. It's just too dangerous to have big gatherings this time of year.
You got to be safe, and it's not only dangerous to we young people, it's dangerous to the old people as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I just found out that a woman at work, she lives in Southern Oregon now. She just got out of the hospital. She had a bout with the virus, and she's 82 years old, and survived. She survived.
Nice
wonderful.
That you did. Nice that you did, Jerry. Anything that's upbeat goes well with this podcast. We have a new president-elect, and I'm glad to be able to celebrate it with my good buddy, Jerry Feitelberg.
Thank you, Ralph. It's a pleasure, and we'll do it again.
All right. Happy trails, everyone. We'll see you when we do. Adios.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.